I'm Aaron Sagers, and this is Talking Strange.
Hey there, spooky nerds, and welcome to Talking Strange, live from San Diego Comic-Con 2024. And as always, I am your host, Aaron Sagers, and I'm super excited to be here today, and we have some special guests. But before I get to them, I am also quite proud to say that this episode of Talking Strange is brought to you by the official convention apparel partner of Talking Strange and Den of Geek, Roosevelt. And I'm actually wearing some of the very colorful Roosevelt attire, which I love. And we've got some on the table as well. Con exclusive Star Wars. We've got a little Jar Jar, a tropical Star Wars shirt there. So Roosevelt, check it out. All right. So I'm a fan of Jurassic Park, one of my favorite movies. And of course, we just celebrated the 30th anniversary last year. And there's lots of legends about, are there dinosaurs out there? People know about Nessie, which some people say is a plesiosaur. There's I said that really like sexy, like plesiosaur. Some say Nessie is a plesiosaur. There's the Mokele Membe in the Congo, and a lot of Native American folklore about river serpents and river monsters. So my thought was, how could dinosaurs exist right now? And to answer those questions, I am joined by the co-host of the podcast, Does It Fly? She is an Emmy Award-winning producer, writer, host, Tamara Krinsky.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm so happy to be here.
I am happy to have you here. And he is an astrophysicist and cosmologist, Hakeem Oluseyi.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you guys here. Well, Jurassic Park is a great nerdy movie, a great classic movie. Like I said, one of my favorites. Just out of curiosity, were you Jurassic Park kids? Did you love Jurassic Park from the get-go?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, like what's earliest memory?
Well, so as Hakeem knows, I am not a scary movie person. Like, I love sci-fi, I do not like horror, and I am completely vulnerable to the jump scare. Mm-hmm. So my memory is of being in the theater and being scared out of my mind and screaming out loud, having people look at me and be like, okay, you gotta pipe down.
Okay, all right. Do you have any early Jurassic Park memories?
Well, it was the most realistic Tyrannosaurus behavior I'd ever seen, right? I mean, realistic in the sense that it looked like, to me at the time, it was a real Tyrannosaurus dinosaur. But the other thing that was really, just impacted my mindset about dinosaurs were the smart ones, right? Which Velociraptors, is that what they were? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Velociraptors just blew my mind. I was like, whoa, dinosaurs are smart. And then later I discovered that they were warm-blooded, and then that they had feathers, right? They just...
And apparently they can open doors, too.
Apparently.
But raccoons can do that, so, that's commonplace.
Wow, okay. You just made Velociraptors either cooler or less cool, and I can't decide which, because raccoons are pretty cool.
Opening doors is not the real test of dinosaur intelligence.
What is the real test of dinosaur intelligence?
Technology, right? That's the real. So humans, other animals have technology, but we're the only ones that have multiple moving part technology. So when they start doing that, then they're on our level.
All right. So when a Velociraptor is chasing you and you're like, I'm not that impressed. You haven't figured out technology. You haven't sent a man to the moon, a Velociraptor to the moon yet.
Bow to my human superiority.
and then
Banged beast.
And that doesn't matter anymore.
No. See, what you guys don't understand is I'm from the deep woods of Mississippi, and I know how to handle wild animals. So I will tell you this is a gift for your audience, okay? It's all about timing. You wait for the beast to make its death lunge towards your throat or your face, and all you gotta do is sidestep them and then stick the appropriate number of fingers right up their butt. And at that point, they change their whole perspective. They only have one thing in mind at that point, and that's that finger, right? So you just lead them right to the authorities. You don't have to fight them or evade them or anything.
To borrow a Seinfeld phrase, it's 1,000,000 to 1 shot, Doc. I mean, that requires a lot of timing and aim.
I've done it with
Is he always
grizzlies,
this
great
cocky?
white sharks.
Wait a minute. You have had your fingers up the butt of a grizzly?
Oh, hell yeah. He tried to attack. He made a mistake. So, a great white shark, a warthog in Africa, Anything. You try to attack me, you're going to jail with my finger up your butt.
See, now this is why I love talking to Hakeem. A, because I always find out something new. Story time with Hakeem is the best. But also, I'm curious, like, to do that properly, it also means you need to know where the butthole is located on all of these various creatures.
On a velociraptor. And would that be a cloaca for a velociraptor?
I don't know what you would call it, but here's the thing about chordates, right? You have the tail that exceeds, you can plan it right. It's all about timing. Practice first with your friends, and then work your way up to vicious beasts.
Keep it clean, Hakeem. Keep it clean.
Sometimes I do interviews and I expect them to go off the rails. I did not expect this one to go off the rails, at least this quickly. But I do love it.
Welcome to Does It Fly. Welcome to Does It Fly.
Like life lessons.
That's right.
Let me ask you a sciencey question.
Bear Grylls does it, but anyway.
How scientific, like with Jurassic Park, how scientifically plausible is it to actually extract dino DNA? I mean, we had Mr. DNA. To actually have that happen and utilize that for the purpose of cloning a dinosaur, such as we see in the film.
It's interesting you ask that question because we just broke a record for the oldest DNA. So in northern Greenland, they found this 2 million year old DNA and found that, there were a lot of animals living side by side that we did not anticipate at that time, right? But here's the thing. There's such a thing as DNA half-life, and it's something like 521 years. And so what that means is that all of the DNA should have degraded by 6.8 million years. There should be no DNA left. Since the dinosaurs, non-avian dinosaurs, went extinct 66 million years ago, the answer would be no. But nature always has a way of surprising you, right? There might be some situation where they're like, it was anoxic and perfectly preserved, and so it was able to remain for 100. You don't know these sort of things. So right now, we don't have any known mechanism for doing it, but I'm not going to say it's completely impossible because under the right conditions, molecules can survive longer than you might anticipate.
It's like Jeff Goldblum says in the movie.
Life finds a way.
Yeah, he also says, he warns about playing God. And I want to follow up with you, Hakeem, on this because there is this term of de-extinction. It seems like people are actually trying to pursue that with the woolly mammoth. But talk a little bit about what that is, and is that actually something that is possible? Is that something that is going to happen?
It does seem like it's on the way, and there are different ways of going about it. It's not just, let's find some DNA and recreate the animal. A lot of it has to do with, let's put it inside of an elephant, right? Or let's combine it with elephant DNA so that we get this hybrid sort of creature out of it. But people are doing the research, and they're growing already, full animals from just fertilized eggs, right? In a bag. I think it was a goat or a sheep they first did that with. So yeah, it's we're moving toward that time period. Humans are playing God.
Tamara, the quote, I'm sure I'm going to get it slightly wrong, but Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum says that your scientists were so busy wondering whether or not they could, they never stopped to ask if they should. And this idea of de-extinction, what do you think about that? And I mean, especially based on what unfolds in Jurassic Park, what's your take on it?
Well, look, I mean, the movies clearly, if you look at the whole series, they clearly have a point of view that, no, we probably should not. Granted, it's much more exciting on screen to watch what happens when it releases mayhem. I mean, look, I think we need to be careful. I mean, I'm completely anti-human cloning. I think that if playing with DNA a little bit can help us not necessarily bring species that have gone extinct back to life, but can actually help species from going extinct if there are things that we can do. I'm not necessarily against that, but I think we need to be careful. One of the things that constantly comes up that Hakeem and I talk a lot about is how realistic is the science that is portrayed on screen. And something that's so interesting about Jurassic Park, at the time that the first one was made, we didn't know that dinos had feathers. That was not a widely accepted theory. Now it is. But yet, because of the popularity of the movie and because of the combination of the animatronics and the CGI and how well everything looks, so many of us have grown up thinking that's what a dinosaur looks like. So as we, continue to have these images on screen, as people are affected by what they see and then carry that image through life of like, well, this is what a dinosaur is. Of course, I saw it in Jurassic Park. We need to be careful about what we're putting out there. So going back to this idea of like, should we, could we? I think it's important to think about the themes that we put up. I mean, what do you think? I'm curious. Do you think de-extinction is a good idea or not a good idea?
I'm very much of the mindset of the hubris of man. I mean, it's what takes us down, and quite honestly, it's already what's impacting our life and our planet. We think that that we are the top of the food chain and that there is no consequences for our actions, and we are seeing that ain't.
That is not true.
You said the right phrase though, top of the food chain. So instead of bringing back the predators, what if we just brought back the delicious dinosaurs?
Like the Dino Burger,
like the Brontosaurus, right?
Yeah.
Like for example,
Burger, yeah.
There has to be. So I've identified the bird, the fish, and the mammal with the most delicious belly meat, and that would be the what is that thing called? The golden pompano. Right? If you ever had that fried belly, oh, so good. The chicken, of course, has most delicious skin. The chicken, of course, and the pig, right? So imagine how delicious some plant-eating dino might be. Can you imagine going to the grocery store and getting a bag of Brontosaurus rinds?
I was thinking, I immediately flashed to the opening sequence, the title sequence of the Flintstones, when Fred is driving up to the movie theater and he orders like the big rack of ribs and tips his thing over. And I'm like, I could get down with that. Like I could go for that.
Yeah, I'm on board for that. I think we can make a meal out of that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. But if you only bring back the prey, doesn't life sort of get out of whack if you don't have any predators in the food chain?
Where are the predators?
Okay.
Yeah, put them in some Monsanto farm and just,
So free-range dinosaurs, that we're going to just hunt.
And think about those eggs.
Now that's a breakfast. Although that makes me think of Flintstones again, because I feel like we've seen that in Flintstones.
Yeah, Wilma
Didn't they crack the huge egg?
That's a hell of an omelet. And I love your point, too, about dinosaurs and the notion of having feathers, because when I was pretty young when Jurassic Park came out, and how exciting reading the book was, and then the movie, and I forget the paleontologist, I want to say his last name was Horn or something, that Alan Grant was based on, and he was the one that posited this notion of the feathers. And now, as you said, that's commonly accepted. A lot of people talk about, are there dinosaurs out there? And we may think of like, okay, sharks or, alligators as sort of direct descendants, but birds.
Yeah, I was going to say birds are the closest, right?
I mean, they are dinosaurs. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Well, then let's get a little bit weird here.
Wait, haven't we kind of gotten weird already?
We started
are we
weird.
not weird enough yet?
We started weird.
How much weirder you want to get?
We're circling back to weird.
Okay.
It's a full circle of weirdness. Like I said at the top, there are stories of, okay, if a Loch Ness monster is out there, some people are like, well, maybe it's a plesiosaur or some relative to the plesiosaur that continues to exist. And there are Native American folklore that there are these river serpents, river monsters that are out there. From your guys' perspective, I mean, storytelling is important, and I think, again, it's arrogant to dismiss the stories as just fiction of people that came before. I mean, what do you think? You think there's a way that some of these large-scale creatures have existed, continue to exist out there, or in the Congo, things like that?
I mean, look, when I was growing up, I was absolutely convinced that the Loch Ness Monster was out there. I mean, I wanted to go to Scotland. I wanted to see her. I absolutely believed that. And so there is a part of me that goes, yeah, if these stories have existed for years and years and years, there's got to be a seed of truth there somewhere. And I think that when master storytellers put them on screen, whether it's big screen or in series on small screen, there's something that resonates because I think all of us have that wonder deep down inside that goes, what is really out there? What's really out there?
Well, that's the kind of the root of the folklore and the myths, that there is some sort of piece of truth at the core of that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, pontificate for me. Scientifically, do you think the depths of the ocean, the depths of, Loch Ness, I forget offhand how deep that is, but that does have connections to the ocean and the deepest parts of the ocean, we are not very effective at being able to, we don't have the equipment to fully scan everything down there.
Right.
So, I mean, what do you think?
Well, we do have that phrase, living fossils, because there are animals that we thought were extinct, like the coelacanth, the fish, right?
Yeah.
That was discovered. And I myself saw an extinct animal at 13 years old. In the woods of Mississippi, I saw a ivory-billed woodpecker. And I told all my older relatives, and it became a joke of my life, right? They're all like, yeah, boy, what was you on, right? And then fast forward, I saw this animal in 1980. Fast forward to 2006, and I first learned of the existence of and the woman showed me the photograph because her husband was in Arkansas looking for one because there had been a sighting. It was thought to be extinct since 1926, and, I saw it, okay? So some people think they may still be there. So the question is, if we're talking about the depths of the Amazon jungle or somewhere in New Guinea or Central Africa or deep in the oceans, could there be some living reptilian from that era? Potentially.
Or birds that,
birds, yeah. I mean, it could. Because I just read a story, and I forget what kind of animal it was, but it was another living fossil that was discovered. So I'm thinking, given the right sort of conditions and being able to survive with a small population, right, a minimally viable population, they could make it and be undiscovered.
Well, also, and that also makes me think about the fact, because you're talking about the idea that we humans have not always been able to go to these places. Like, as our technology for exploration advances, think about the fact that we now have drones that can go and see places and spaces we've never had access to before. But the other piece of that is when humans have come into environments, you've got creatures that go far away and hide themselves. But now we have ways of observing environments where it's not going to scare a creature away. So that opens up a whole new realm of possibility.
Yeah.
And, even like in recent years, we've discovered tribes of people that have been living somewhat just separated from civilization or from our modern civilization that are in these places. It kind of breaks my heart, though, to think about it, because it would seem like the other way we're going to discover anything that's out there in these remote spots is because of deforestation and encroaching civilization, constant development and whatnot. But then I also think we could potentially be unleashing viruses or certain kinds of bacteria or whatever that we're not prepared for. What's your take on that? Is that too crazy of a thought?
No, I think that's with the tundra of the north melting, one of the concerns is that you might release some sort of ancient pathogen.
Did you just catch that story about melting permafrost and rust?
No.
So there was, and I haven't read it in the last 24 hours, and I've been traveling, so my brain is a little mushy, but I was reading a story a couple of days ago about the fact that there is melting permafrost that is now releasing all of these minerals that have been trapped. So you're seeing a lot of rust-colored water that is happening, which is a big, big problem because it's contaminating water sources.
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying is absolutely right on target.
All right, final question for you guys. Off topic, but I love finding out about the creepy old house at the end of the block of everyone's childhood, or the urban legend, or the monster, or the hook for the hand guy. What was your boogeyman, your urban legend, whatever it may have been, where you guys grew up? Do you have an answer right away?
So
have
easy.
One? Oh, okay.
Bloody Mary.
Okay.
With the toilet, you say her name.
Wait, hold on. Because so Bloody Mary that is so well known, but also so regionally defined.
Yeah, I don't know Bloody Mary.
You
What's
don't know Bloody Mary?
I don't think I know. What is Bloody
They
Mary?
terrorized me as a little kid. So you go
What
into
is
the bathroom. So first of all, I was the youngest of a group of 9 kids. My sibling and I, and my mother's best friend had 7 kids. Okay, so you go into the bathroom, and you say Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, something like that, some number of times, and you half flush the toilet or something, and then you fully flush it, and then Bloody Mary either appears in the mirror or but what happens is once you do it, people start screaming, right? As a little kid, I remember doing this as young as 7.
Right.
Oh, I was freaked out, man. I just knew Bloody Mary was going to get me.
And who was Bloody Mary?
I have no idea.
You don't know who the character was? It's
a bad chick coming to get you.
Yeah, well, that is true. But again, like, the definition is so, like, it varies by region. So I was raised Catholic, youngest of 5
Same,
kids.
yeah.
So it was like, you spin around in the mirror in the dark. Maybe you have a candle or something, but it was a bloodied version of Virgin Mary that might appear. But there's Mary Queen of Scots, there's Mary the Child Killer, there's like all these different versions. And this is the first time I've heard the toilet flushing. Your parents must have loved you guys for the water wasting that you were doing. Okay, that's
they didn't
good.
care back
I
then.
like that. What was yours?
So I've actually got 2. One of which is scary, one which was a little more benign. So the scary one was, I'm from New Jersey, so it was all about the Jersey Devil. And I would go to camp, and you were sort of out in the wilderness, and the counselors would try to scare the bejesus out of you. Anything that you were doing, they didn't want you. Jersey Devil's gonna get you, and they would like make rustling
Love
things.
Jersey Devil.
So Jersey Devil was the scary one. But I spent my summers doing theater with a bunch of high school kids. And so, like when I was in high school. And so we would we'd all work during the day, we'd rehearse at night. And then we got really into Ouija boards. But we weren't even using like a real Ouija board. So after rehearsal, we'd go to somebody's house, we would cut out the letters just like on a piece of paper, put them in a circle. We'd use a paper cup. I swear to God, nobody was moving the cup. Nobody was moving the cup. And that thing was whizzing across my kitchen floor, spelling out the names of ghosts. And night after night, saying that we had all been connected in a previous life. It would always spell out these relationships. And I was not moving the cup.
Love it. I love it. I want to go on your show and talk about sort of the culture and sort of the science of Ouija boards as well, because what you described is a universal experience, but also weird, but also there's elements of how it's, could be defined. And Ouija is a brand name, but the old school Ouija, the original talking boards were very much people just cutting out things and using a glass or whatever. So you guys did it old school. I love it. And I love the Jersey Devil. But the original sketch of the Jersey Devil, he kind of just looks like the sort of the awkward kid of the cryptid set, like, because he kind of has this goofy little hunched over vibe about him, like he's going through that growth spurt, and he's not quite monstrous yet. He's just like, hey guys, like I'm gonna be a big monster one day.
And so continues the long tradition of making fun of everything from Jersey.
When you first said Jersey Devil, I never heard it. I thought you were talking about like Tootsie. What's her name?
Tootsie?
Tootsie?
The chick from Jersey Shore?
Well,
Snooki.
No.
Snooki.
Yeah. Sookie is True Blood, Tootsie is Dustin Hoffman, and Snooki is Jersey Shore.
I thought you were talking about Snooki when you said it.
I'm glad that we have all sorted that out.
So many different kinds of monsters in the world.
Okay. Love it. My guest today for this special Talking Strange is Hakeem Oluseyi and Tamara Krinsky from the Does It Fly podcast. And I'm Aaron Sagers coming at you from San Diego Comic-Con, the special edition of Talking Strange, again, brought to you by our good friends over at Roosevelt's, the official convention apparel partner of Talking Strange and Den of Geek. And until next time, be kind, stay spooky, and keep it weird.